Hello, everyone. My name is Francesca Witzberg. I am an attorney at Esca Legal. We are a boutique intellectual property law firm. I founded the firm 2 years ago. We've grown to 15 people. We have 30,000 followers across different social media platforms. The reason why you're in this room today is probably, how is she doing this? How is it relevant to me and my practice, and why should I be doing this? I'm going to leave 10 minutes at the end because rather than me just talk to you or at you, I'd rather take real questions and have this be more of a collaborative workshop. So before we even get started, take out your phones. How many of you are using LinkedIn right now for business? Okay, raise them high so I could see. Okay, maybe a little bit more than the room. Go to LinkedIn, type in esca.legal, click, and follow. That is how you get followers. So I built the brand at the Trademark Attorney, which I will go to this slide, really first off of my personal brand. You're here today because you like people, or somebody made you come here because they understand people is the key to having a successful business. It's relationships, it's being present. But with COVID, everything changed. Everything drastically evolved and pushed forward into now your personal in-person presence needing to be parallel to your digital presence. Who are you and what are you offering? How can you help people? So a little bit about this. This is a snapshot of what I would like you guys all to think about what you need to have. First of all, do you have good headshots? You're scrolling LinkedIn, the first thing a potential client's gonna see, or even on your website, is your picture. Pictures say 1,000 words. If you don't have good headshots, make sure you're focusing on that. Number 2, what is your story? If you had to give your 30-second elevator pitch on who you are and what you're about, do you know what that is? Personal branding and your reputation is the key to having success in the digital economy. Referrals and word of mouth will always be important and probably number 1, in my opinion, in our industry. So I'm not going to tell you to stop doing what you're doing, but I will tell you, you need to supplement that with taking your in-person brand and having an equal and parallel digital brand. Now, I'm going to ask you all, how many of you are on Instagram for business? About half. Phenomenal. How many of you are on TikTok for business? Wow. Okay, that's way more than I thought. So if I asked this question last year, I'm sure it would have been less. I think that's a good indicator to really talk to you about how to use social media and why it's important. And if there is one takeaway I can give you all, if you are afraid to use it, if you're scared that it's going to be, it'll hurt your brand or have people see you on TikTok and really harm the way that you want to be presented in the world, make sure that you are showing up your authentic professional self. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, they're not places to take pictures of your meal and fire off a post about how great your meal was, unless it was linked to a client, or if you had a networking event out of that, or meeting a client. Setting an intention with the content that you're creating is going to be key. So as a little homework exercise, I really recommend tonight you go and go check, hey, do I have good headshots? Modern headshots. It's not a good look when you meet someone in person, and if you're older, but you still look fabulous, and someone goes and sees a picture of you from when you were 20. You really want to show up the way that you are today. And I do not look like that every day, okay? I have 2 small kids at home, but for those pictures, I really set a lot of intention on how I wanted to present myself and how I wanted to show up just for this one picture. And thankfully, in the digital world, so much of it, you don't have to wear a suit every day. If you have flexibility in remote working, you could have these stock pictures that are going to be key in presenting your brand. Number 2, write out your story. It should be no more than 3 paragraphs, and you can even include it in your LinkedIn bios on top of your professional bios. This is different than a professional bio. If you go to my website at esca.legal, you'll see I have a very professional bio, and then I have a page about our vision and our story. And this is a clip from that. So how did I take my personal brand and reputation and growing it into a multi-million-dollar law firm in two years? And we're all here because we love technology. Our firm is intentionally positioning ourselves and embracing technology rather than moving away from it. And this is not an audience where I'm going to lecture everyone on the importance of technology. We all know, and we're all here. And I think that's why those numbers were higher when you raised your hands on using social media. This is an example of how I'm trying to carve out my positioning in the market and be different. So for you all, think, what is my unique value proposition, and have this integrated in your content. I'm going to show you an example of some of the posts that have done well. Obviously, this is a big news alert. We became a full service law firm. I use LinkedIn as a marketing mechanism to connect with the community, but this is a very traditional way of posting, right? Like big news announcement. How many of you are using LinkedIn to share your story? Okay. That's the first answer I got, that it was a minority. Being authentic and sharing your story is going to be the key in building a brand online. If you attend business events, they always say this, building a brand, but shifting that and using LinkedIn to do anecdotes are very important. TikTok. This TikTok video, I think now it's up to 650,000 views. Views are not the goal, people. You do not want just to hire a social media agency that's going to crank out content so that you get thousands and thousands of followers. That's not going to convert. You're not speaking to your ideal audience. So how can you use Reels and TikToks to generate business and build a brand? It comes down to intention and your content pillars. So for me, I'm not just posting randomly. I'm not just posting pictures of my food and my meals. They have to fit into one of these buckets or else I'm not posting. So number one, I post educational content. I will take a video that talks about IP, or if it's a celebrity collaboration, and I do a green screen on TikTok or Instagram in their editing app. And this may sound fancy, but it's very basic. And if you take 5 minutes to use it, or ask someone young in your family, I'm sure they could show you. Worst case, ask ChatGPT. But you can take a picture and have it as a background and talk over. And that's one way to do it. And this actually isn't green screen. This is what's called a remix, where you can take a video and do a side by side. So the apps have different tools. I'm not doing trending dancing videos. This is a video where she found a counterfeit bag at a Goodwill store. And I am talking about how brands try to control their supply chain and fight fakes. Inspirational. This was someone that I have been integrating and I decided to keep, because I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm not trying to be a celebrity, right? Everything I'm posting funnels into the firm. So if I'm posting something that's inspirational about, growing the firm in a couple years or overcoming burnout, it is still tied to the firm and how I've built the firm. If you're posting, think, hey, is this going to be connected to my professional career? And if not, save it for your personal social media. Promotional. This is what everyone's doing. This is what you scroll on LinkedIn, you see everybody, but as you scroll, you're not going to stop and read someone's 5 paragraphs on how they won some award. It's important because it plants it subconsciously. The second someone looks at it, it's in their brain. So it's critical and it's a pillar. But if you are just doing this, you're missing out. And number 4, we do legal news. So we will actually take trending cases and show that we're relevant. I'm not trying to be a news source, but it allows us to position ourselves as experts. If you're beginning or if you're continuing to build, I will say, be authentic to yourself. I think being authentic is the most important word. If you take a buzzword away from this, authentic, authentic, authentic. And I will add the authentically professional, because the way that you show up online should be the way that you would if you were in front of a client. At the beginning, as long as it's in one of those pillars, post. Don't overthink it. Really, you need to do a lot of trial and error to see what works well and what doesn't. And then analyze, look back on the data and think, how did this post do? Did it lead to a connection? But this part, analyze. Sometimes you're not going to know if things are going to do well ultimately. You'll be able to determine that by your growth and the impact and the comments that people are engaging with. Some people may side channel you and say, I love this post. Thank you for sharing. Let's get coffee. Some people may start threads in the comments. Posting and creating content is more about marketing and brand building than direct sales. I will be remiss if I do not talk about advertising in this presentation. How many of you are using digital advertising on Meta and Instagram right now? Okay, that's great. That's a lot of you. How many? I saw 2 hands went up and then down. Where are you doing ads? Google and LinkedIn. Okay, great. So the majority of you have not yet entered this market. This is the next phase. And I would like some people during the Q&A session who have done really well in ads, please raise your hand and share what has worked for you. We are very new in it, and we're looking at the data. It's profitable so far, but it is a very strange thing to have clients get a call with them and say, oh, I saw your Facebook video and booked a call. It's the new world we're in. Another buzzword is community that I'm sure you see over and over again. Building community is important. What does that mean? I think when you think of community, think of your funnel. Think of your opportunity funnel and your network. How are you drawing people in? Everybody right now, you're either addicted to your phone or you are on a little bit too much. That's the world we're in. If you can shift from being a consumer into being a creator, that's wonderful. And also, you don't need to just be the only one doing this. You can hire a team. So before I skip to the next slide, I will give you I'll share some things that have worked for me. And I would love to hear also at the Q&A if anyone has any other tips for how social media content has helped them in their business. So, number 1, I did everything myself at the beginning to figure it out. I needed to find my voice. I needed to find what works. A lot of you, but I was at a firm that was very open. So many of you are either solos or small firms where you have that ability. But even if you're at a bigger firm, I would really push for this, and you could do it with them. But try to make your own content at the beginning. Don't just outsource it, because they don't know you. They don't know your voice. Again, this is about storytelling, connections, and being authentic. So I really recommend at the beginning having it be you. Then eventually you could have interns. I was using law interns. Eventually we converted to college interns. So we have 2 college interns. One is running our Esca Legal Instagram. The other is running the trademark attorney. If you look on Instagram alone, my trademark attorney is the personal brand. That has almost 9,000 followers. Esca Legal only has a few hundred. It has more on LinkedIn. But why is that important? Even if you have a business, build the brand, do content for the brand, but your own personal account is what people are craving. People are craving connection, real human connection. They don't want to just see a logo and a picture and an award logo. They want you. Yes, they want you. And so by having your own personal platform in conjunction with the business, tying those two things together are critical. And there's mechanisms like on Instagram, for example, where you can post a picture and hit collab, and that same picture will go to your business account and your personal account. Creating systems is going to be key. At the beginning, you want to just post, but then reverse engineer what's working, build SOPs, have a Word document that outlines some of your templates, and get organized. Start with interns, college or law students, and they can really help you with this. So I will end with this. We are in a new digital economy. Your personal brand is everything. We are in a race right now in terms of the digital real estate. People are posting. You probably see the same people who are posting. That's because they are taking stake in the digital real estate. As more and more lawyers become more aware that this is a requirement for doing business, that real estate is going to shrink. So you in this room have an amazing opportunity to invest in this, to get interns even that are free and can get credit to help you really build up and take hold of that real estate so that you're positioning yourself for success for now and in the future. Thank you all, and I will open it for questions. Thank you. There's a mic. I think you can ask. Yep.
Sorry, it's okay. Do you find that there was a particular social media platform that worked for you better at the beginning? Have you shifted? Do you still use the original one that was successful for you?
It's a great question. No, I think things change with times. So when I started, it was Instagram. It was my generation too. You have to think of who your avatar is and where your clients are. So I started with Facebook and LinkedIn. 5 years ago, I created the Instagram account, The Trademark Attorney, and I cross-post content. LinkedIn was for my more professional network, our in-house counsel contacts, some of our bigger enterprise clients. Instagram was small startups or coaches. There's a lot of coaches online who have courses or course creators. So it was almost as if I was serving these two separate businesses where the content I would post on Instagram was still relevant, but not always relevant for LinkedIn. It shifted as we started changing avatars and grew now into emerging brands and mid-sized brands. So I think the answer for you is find first, where are you most comfortable? If you're most comfortable with Facebook, start posting on Facebook. Obviously, LinkedIn I'm just assuming that you're all going to be LinkedIn. Start with LinkedIn, number one. You all should be. And then I would pick what are you more comfortable with. And if you're posting on Facebook, and you might as well post on Instagram, and you might as well post on TikTok and YouTube Shorts as well. I think the more the better, and you could start drilling down. With AI tools, we use one that's called QUOSA AI. It's QUOSA.ai. If you make a video, it'll go onto YouTube. You can edit the video in the app. It'll clip up AI short, like 30-second clips. It'll post for you. So you could sync all your social media accounts and have a caption in there. It'll schedule them out and automatically post. So I have our college interns do all of that. They draft them, I approve them, and things are getting automated and sent out as they go in a process. So to answer your question, yes, it's going to depend. And I would start with where you feel the most comfortable. LinkedIn plus what other platform are you comfortable with?
I have a follow-up to that question. So from what I understand, you're posting through like a third party to the platforms as opposed to posting natively on like Instagram or on LinkedIn. Okay.
Yes. Yes, there may be some like SEO and data behind doing it the other way, but for now, I'm not trying to be an influencer. We're not trying to get millions and millions of followers. That should not be your goal. It really should be building a niche community of people who are interested in what you're doing, can potentially be clients or referral sources.
Okay, so we have used a couple different social media platforms, and we don't really use Instagram or TikTok at this time. And one of the main reasons is due to kind of the demographics that those apps primarily like cater to and suit, which doesn't really fit our ideal client profile. So I really liked the pillars. I think that kind of restructured how I look at TikTok and Instagram. But with that in mind, do you think they're still worth exploring, even if it's not necessarily reaching, the audience that we are like trying to seek? I mean, all audiences obviously are on both, but it's primarily targeted toward like younger audiences versus what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys said you're just doing LinkedIn and Google. I would 100% try Meta. You will be shocked. You'll be surprised. We had a $100 million a year client book us because somebody saw our Instagram reel. So people are there, and I think you won't know until you try and test, and you can always change back. But I think the key is if it's low hanging fruit, if it's easy to repurpose content and just post across different platforms, you should be doing it. Because who knows, TikTok, even in the news, right? People were freaking out that it was going to shut down. For people who are only building a platform on one platform, that's a problem. So the way that we are strategizing is let's just cross post our content to as many platforms as possible and look at the data. Now we understand Instagram and LinkedIn are the most relevant to us.
I have a question for you back here. Something that I've been running into is struggling to figure out ideas for content generation. I feel because I think it's important to post consistently. And I find that I'm struggling to, like, there's only so many topics I find myself that I'm going to be inevitably circling back to something that I've already posted or we've already talked about. Do you have any tools or organizational strategies for planning out content or coming up with ideas?
Yes, at the beginning, if you're doing it yourself, just post, just really try. And if you're putting it on your calendar and not making time for it, in the car, if you have 5 minutes picking your kids up before school, people do not care so much when you're putting your phone out and taking a video. This does not have to be high quality. I mix in the higher quality where it's going back to like the headshot, right? Of course, you're going to want to have content where you look a certain way, but then there are videos where I'm not wearing makeup, my hair is probably messy, and I just needed to get it out. And if I didn't, then it would never have been made. So, okay, I haven't even thought about this yet. This video was made when I was waiting for a client to come meet me at a restaurant. I had 5 minutes. She was 5 minutes late, and I needed to get content out because I was behind. It took 3 minutes to make. I posted it, and this is $650,000. I wish it was $650,000. It was a 650,000 view post. So when I tell you make content, you really have to hold yourself accountable and just get it out, because you're not going to know which posts will do well and not. I think overthinking it, over planning, for lawyers, it's analysis paralysis, and it's just more work on top of what you're doing. So if you could somehow integrate it into your lifestyle, whether it's when you're 5 minutes before you're in the car, if you have some time at night, building it in, and it'll get easier as you do it. One other thing I will say is if you're really stuck, and this is something, please take this away. If you can have someone at your firm interview you, it could be on Teams or Zoom, and just literally ask ChatGPT to come up with questions. If you're you're a family law lawyer, say in ChatGPT, please come up with 10 questions for a podcast, for a recording that I can answer to clip up with social media relevant to my field, and it's going to give it to you. And have somebody prompt you, because lawyers can talk. We know we like to talk. That's not the hard part. The hard part is just thinking up the topics and having someone ask us. So have somebody ask you to make a long form clip, and then you can use Acusa AI or one of those AI tools. Just ask ChatGPT what AI tools there are and what pricing is. There's a bunch of them. You put the video in, it'll clip them up, and you could just have that post on your LinkedIn and your social media account. So if you're really stuck at a minimum, there's 2 months that I took completely off the grid on Instagram, but I still had videos posting every other day because of that process with the intern, her taking my long form videos and clipping them up.
And that sort of piggybacks the question I have. So it sounds like you're taking some long form, you're clipping it in all different manner and using that same content across multiple platforms.
Yes.
You don't want to have the exact same thing on every platform. I assume you want to change it up a little bit, even though it's like the same piece of content, basically. So what is your kind of strategy for that? And then what is your cadence for how often you're posting? And is it you hit all of the platforms on one day? Is it kind of sprinkled about? Sort of what is your philosophy for that?
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. So whatever is the easiest for you, if it's right now just getting a picture and having a caption and having that go across, do it. You can then navigate the differences, but I rarely will change them. Because if I'm showing up one way on LinkedIn, I should be showing up the same way on Instagram and TikTok because those same people can find my Instagram and TikTok. I think that comes down to like the authenticity and the professionalism. You should be able to show up across all. Or maybe sometimes I change it, but for the most part, you can show up across all platforms the same way, and it's easier and less analysis paralysis and less getting stuck. How often? I try to do like 3 or 4 a week to keep up with the algorithm because if you don't, it punishes you. And that's something I struggled with. If you're not posting, I don't want to be glued to my phone. So having the AI tools has given me the ability to be off of the phone while still having it post. Yeah.
So 2-part question. The first part is on your website, I noticed that you have blogs. What is your return on investment as far as engagement goes as it goes towards those traditional type of written blogs? And then the second question, unfortunately somewhat unrelated, is what percentage of your professional time are you spending on your marketing endeavors as compared to management of your sizable staff and the actual practice of law?
Sure. So the blog we actually created for SEO. We realized our SEO was horrendous, and we just started the firm working with clients and just trying to get clients in the door. We weren't thinking about that, but then we realized blogs help with SEO, getting you ranked on top of Google. So that's why we started it. We use a lot of ChatGPT. We use interns. Nothing's getting posted without a senior attorney reviewing it, but we're in the age where ChatGPT can write you a pretty good basic post just to get up and spit out, and then you can cross post that, but also you can use it for other content. You could say, okay, make a graphic out of this, make a video from this, make questions for me so I could do a long form. There's a lot that can come out of that. So the blog is critical. It's not everything, but it is a piece. All this is these are pieces to a bigger comprehensive marketing strategy. And then if you have the ability to go really dive in and get your hands dirty, do so, and try to invest an hour at a minimum a day. I know that sounds crazy. At the beginning, I was doing a lot, but now I do so little of it because I did all the heavy lifting at the beginning. So I think as much as you can at the beginning to really understand, and then set systems and procedures. And now we have I don't have an in-house marketing person. It really is the interns that then they come in, they have their written SOPs, they have training videos, they have Canva. Canva's really good. If you don't have it, you need Canva. It creates all your graphics and content, and there's all templates in there. So we'll say, we do an event every year, do a save the date. The save the date template's already made. Do a promotional post for this attorney. All those templates are in Canva, and we were able to do it really bootstrapped, very bootstrapped, and I'm continuing to try and bootstrap because you can hire $100,000 marketing person a year, but you have to keep expenses low, and then eventually that is the goal. If you want to grow, we eventually will need a full-time marketing person. And then I think this is the last question, so thank you. The balance is, and you say comedic content?
Like friends, stuff like that.
I don't do any of it. I tried it. It was horrible. I had a client call me and say, Francesca, why are you doing wrapping the AO? Like, you're not a rapper, you're a lawyer. And that was a moment where I pivoted. And again, it's going back to trial and error, but for me, trends did not work. I do not recommend them. There may be a time and a place for them. I don't want to limit you either. For me, it didn't work. But I will leave it to you. If it's within your authentic self and it's professional, then there may be room for that. So for me, but it's not a pillar. Okay. Thank you all so much. I'm going to be here after. Make sure to follow, and thank you.